Learning was fun.
Yeah.
I think for me, learning has always been fun.
Yeah.
Not about it.
Yeah.
It's just that I think I felt that at uni, it wasn't very engaging. In terms first of all, from a time perspective, the number of classes you have. There are days you might have one or even
5 minutes.
Yeah, or there are days none, depending on how your calendar is. So you're almost asking, what do you do the rest of the time?
And you use from Alliance, it's back to back.
You're used to.
Especially when you're preparing for
it's
exams.
actually not even your 8 to 5. It was a 24 hours of structure.
Yes.
Because it was defined.
Yes.
Whether even if it's sleep time, it's preps time, games time, break time.
Yeah.
So you come to an environment whereby
you can even choose
it's
not
almost
to
free
go
for
to the
all.
class.
Yeah, even going for class was technically optional. There's and especially if you go to a public school, maybe private was a bit more strict. So for me, getting engaged with ISEC really helped me because it now gave me, first of all, an environment whereby at a relatively early age, 19, 20, to start getting engaged actively into leadership.
And internationally.
Yes,
rather,
because you had to put up yourself for election. And you had to write what you call a manifesto. Manifesto was saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do for the association, this is my strategy. And you craft a booklet. You probably do like a 20-page booklet.
And you look for funds to print that and circulate.
And among your membership. And so it's those things over. You start really being conscious about how can you drive development, or how can you create change. Because I think for me, a lot of times before that, it was more of I'm just playing along, like the garbage. The garbage example I gave was, it was seemed an opportunity, but not really thought about it consciously. So here became an environment whereby actively thinking about this, how do I leverage on the platform? Because that's the thing for me now, when I started looking at any job I'm engaged in, more as a platform. Not really as being employment or being an organization, but in terms of a platform. So I think it was a question of how can I leverage on this platform to drive certain things, achieve certain objectives. So for ISEC, one of the things about ISEC involved is that one, you had to actively fundraise. You had to approach corporate organizations such as this. Come to you, develop a proposal, value. Look at you as, let's say, what do you do as an organization? What value can you provide to you as ISEC? And how can we generate value? Maybe even how can you support some of our activities? How can we engage with you? And what I really think added a lot of value is that at a very early age, even before you start thinking about looking for a job, it gave you opportunities and access to very senior people. Because now, sometimes how I joke about the ISEC is, because I serve in the board of one of the ISEC, is tell them it's a lot easier for them to reach the president or any CEO than it is for me. If you call status today and say I'm a student, let's say a student of University of Nairobi or Moi of this, and we want to engage with, let's say, it's Africa Talking CEO. They spike a curiosity.
Yes.
When I call as Alex, even if it's a bit more barriers. Somebody's curious.
Our CEO is accessible. The president might not be that accessible.
But it typically will give you, because I think I remember it gave us such platforms. I remember at university, when I was a student at the time, like, for example, Eldoret Club, which is now where Who is Who meets.
True.
You'll get to go there for meetings.
I hear you. All I'm saying is that what you're saying is actually true, especially in some quarters, because also people are still having that culture that, I'm a boss, you need to talk to my assistant, you need to book some, and all this. But also there are people who actually are embracing new way of doing things. I'm just human.
That's true.
I can always meet, we can chat, we can have coffee, as long as, it's within it brings into of like, it's reasonable, because also there are other people who are not reasonable.
That's true.
They won't spend maybe your 8 hours, and your 8 hours means that other people don't have access to you, which is understandable. So that actually opened you up to the network of the industries even before you graduated. Because I got to meet you got to meet a lot of industries. You start understanding almost the work environment even before you start thinking about it. Because now you're in your first year, second year. It's even the idea of I'll need to get a job in the future has not even started sinking in your head. But you start realizing that you've already started job hunting very early. Because it's not conscious. You're already building the networks. You realize by the I know this
I know the HR.
Why can't I ask them for
I know the
internship?
HR director at EABL. I don't know who. I know this PS. I know this minister. I'm very close with the, let's say, like even the vice chancellor of the university. I remember that time, even the VC at the time started even as far as getting us interested in playing golf, for example, at that particular age. So even getting such...
The VC used to play golf?
Yeah, he was very...
There's a controversial question I'll ask. But what did you take in school?
At high school, at university.
University.
I actually studied literature.
Literature?
Yeah, I took a degree in literature.
And English or Swahili?
And languages, English.
Oh, English.
Okay. So I also studied Swahili.
That is undergrad.
Yeah, that's undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I studied. So when after getting married, after high school, why I chose that is that I didn't want to take because the other options I had of courses was to take either a 5-year course or a 6-year.
That is engineering.
Yeah, engineering. And I felt like I wouldn't survive. I don't know why. I had a feeling like I wouldn't finish.
You wouldn't make it.
It didn't make, it didn't, yeah. So for me, I almost felt like, let me get engaged into something I like, because I really like reading, writing. So I sort of looked into what is the next thing. And then for me, I really appreciate because I was given that space, because naturally at that time it was your grades that defined where you learn.
Yeah.
So if you get an A student or you're an A minus student,
have so many options.
You are written into the medicines. If you don't get medicine now, you start because I think medicine was the most highest grades. You get dropped in the next, maybe engineering or into law. So for me, I was really appreciate, like even now, for example, my parents, they didn't insist that I have to take according to my to what I scored. Yeah. So I went when I went to change my courses, because there's a course, of course, at high school you had chosen the right courses that aligned to an Alliance high school student. You had the medicine, the engineering, I think, and law and journalism. And, can't remember the next one. Yeah, so being able to pursue the course that was of your interest, and that I think for me was very I really appreciate them for that.
Yeah. Now the controversial question comes here. Yeah. So you said your VC used to play golf, and right now I hear more universities broke. Do you think some of these dons squander the resources that they're exposed to?
I think that could be a possibility. The squandering.
Yeah.
Or also not taking advantage of, let me use the word platform again, the space you are in to make the best of it. For the institution.
Capacity.
Yes, for the institution. Yeah. Or you not doing the right things that are required for it. Of course, there could be fleecing or money and the likes. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the more weakness is in terms of, if you're given an institution, like I remember my universities used to see, main campus, used to sit, I think, on a 3,000 acre. Something like that. There used to be a huge...
From one side of the highway to the other side of the... I was surprised to see that.
It was massive, even just from, from that space. But that's not what the university is really so much about.
Yeah.
But in terms of even looking at what mandate have you been given as a university? I know we have a long way, especially for universities, around research. And that's why most of them are not very highly ranked from the university ranking. So it's almost like, or even linkages to industry, in terms of how can you do better in terms of, so that even your students are more exposed to the industry. Because especially when I look at some of the, let's say, look at what I'm familiar with, like a lot of the American universities. A lot of the innovations comes from the universities.
The best products.
Yes. Yeah. Even some of these products we are doing for companies we are doing, such as ourselves.
Yes.
Apart from the founding of them being sort of like being the university being the incubator or the launch pad for them. But it's the research that is coming out of the professors there. So it's almost a question of saying, how could the universities, from all the studies they do, because they do those theses we do, all those research PhDs, how do they translate to them being solutions in real life solutions?
That people could use.
Yes, because ideally that's how it's supposed to be, the linkage. Because the professors from the research and the university has done should understand things better and drive. So I think for me, that's probably one of the missing links. And I think that's part of the mandate the universities need to take on more and more. And they should be at the center of really solving a lot of our problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also I've seen these several, I don't know if you are the right person to speak about it, but most of the research is based around the hype topics. Like for instance, Melinda and Bill Gates has this fund for eradicating malaria or HIV AIDS. Most of those things are not practical. So they happen to write papers around the strategies, some of things. Of course, there's the vaccine part of it, which is more practical. And remember, if you don't have end-to-end where you have the research paper and also build these vaccine centers where you can build these vaccines, of course, someone else will build them for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, we are tapping into the theory part of things and not the practical part of things, hence losing a lot of resources and longevity of the project? Also, as you speak on that, do you feel also maybe most of the government paid and pensionable guys are suffering from salary syndrome, whereby, if I negotiate my salary, I'm okay. I don't need to do more. Yeah. I want to be safe.
Yeah, I think it could be a bit of all that. And what I think, at least from my perspective, is one. Maybe when it comes, and I think even all of us are guilty of this. Let's say you're doing a master's and you need to do a thesis. For you or for we probably be thinking that I need to pass. I need to get this grade. And maybe because I'm going to get a promotion at work, as an example. But not really pursuing the research from the perspective of saying that I'm creating either new knowledge or creating new solutions. So it's almost like I just do my paper. Nikishamaliza doing my paper, let it be filed. But never either pursue it or even do anything that enhances it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of a gap from that particular perspective. Because even when you talk about academia, it's a lot of us who pursue higher education, who are part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
But then the second thing as well is that there isn't enough opportunities, or there isn't very deliberate efforts towards how does the collaboration across, let me say, industries. And by industries, maybe that's not the right word. I'm trying to think, or maybe sector is also not the right word. Let me give you examples.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about we need to create a solution to any issue, who should be the players? Actually, maybe players is the right word. And I think for me, we need to look at how do we like to use this word multi-stakeholder. But for me, I'm looking at a point whereby, let's say like Nairobi, let's think of an issue or we've been looking a lot into the aspect of maybe there's noise or the clubs or transportation. How do you go about creating that solution? It's not just a responsibility for the Nairobi City Council to figure it out. Maybe they have the mandate. But either them...
It's a collective approach.
Yes. Yeah. Either them, they should probably bring together industry players.
And the stakeholders.
Some of them will probably be thinking about tech solutions. Some of them are maybe the matatu guys who are going to be affected by whatever the solution is.
Yeah.
Others are maybe non-profits because they're thinking maybe either from an environmental perspective or something else.
The real estate owners.
Yeah, the real estate. So those things of how do we take an approach to creating solutions that brings different people, bring together now the academia in such a way that they can bring now their academic perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you call it a theory, but now it becomes practice when it's put together in such a pot. Yeah, because now for me, I'll come maybe I'm the NGO guy and I'll say no, but this Nairobi, what is it called? Like what they're doing now. There's this Uhuru Park. Yeah. The concept of Uhuru Park, the way you guys are doing it, this thing it's chasing away the birds or something. I don't know. And probably private sector would be thinking maybe, we probably, yes, in this park, maybe you should have fewer trees. Let's have, I don't know, shops or something. So in terms of how do we have such kind of environment whereby we looking at solutions together in such a way that we never pass the buck to anybody else. Because I think part of the biggest challenge is we always trying to pass the buck. We are trying to pin somebody. I'm trying to say, we're in your shida. But I think it's sort of like collectively. Yes, there are people who have the mandate, but it's really in terms of each of us. Maybe it's more of asking a question of how do we get people more around the table to address these issues? Because it's pinching.
No,
it's
I mean,
pinching all of us.
it's really important what you have brought forward, but I still also feel like we have developed this culture of unaccountability.
Yeah.
Sorry to say this, but the former president, you could ask the Wananchi, what do you want me to do? And now, if a normal Wananchi would be frustrated because now this is the guy. If all goes wrong, if everything doesn't work, we know this guy, as much as he's a one man and he's a human, we have given him all the power, all the resources, everything that he requires. So I feel it should cut across both what you have brought forward and also we have more accountability, because now if a VC doesn't take accountability that the school is broke, then we're in a mess, right? And also where you live, if you don't take accountability why it's being littered, or maybe why things are not working, or why there's noise, if you don't hold the club owner accountable of the noise that is made in the club, and they could use soundproof and all that, and the list goes on. So it's more of like, taking that approach, but also holding accountable all these key stakeholders.
That's true.
Otherwise, you will find people who don't want to take any. And that's why we are by this. That's why our problem is. Because like right now, if you ask a simple question like, why is there still corruption maybe in the police workforce? Someone will tell you, you know what? Maybe it's the police, the traffic. The traffic saying, you know what? Maybe it's my inspector. The inspector saying, you know what?
Passing the
so
back.
No one wants to take it.
Yeah, nobody takes
but
ownership.
We need to have someone who is accountable, because of course, even the salaries are not the same, which means now someone is in charge of everything. Yeah. And once you deal with that, now it trickles down, where now the leadership part of it comes in. And I know you are big in education. So how did it come that you did something in Namibia around academic programs manager?
Yeah, it was actually interesting how I ended up in partly in let me say the tech industry.
This was tech.
Yes. This was actually my ISEC. Going back to ISEC.
Okay. So ISEC opened all these doors.
Yes, ISEC actually opened the door for me, because as part of what ISEC did, the activities was an exchange program that gave you a chance to work abroad.
Yeah.
So for me, I got a chance to work in South Africa as an internship. This was towards my last years of university.
Yeah.
Actually, coincidentally, is that by that time I had not graduated.
Okay.
And I got to graduate much later.
Okay. So after getting your first salos, the salary.
I'd already did my salos for quite a while before.
You know the school can wait.
Schooling can wait. Yeah, so exchange program. So we got chances to go for conferences outside the country. So that international exposure really opened up your mind. You start seeing other parts of the world. And really start seeing that, first of all, you can be more, but you also realize you actually a lot more than you give yourself. You give yourself credit. Yeah. Because at times you always have the perception that the other people were better than us.
Yes.
Maybe they are brighter than us. But then you start realizing that yes, you're an African. You come from a very challenging, dire environment. But you realize that your ideas, your thinking, your aspirations are as good or greater than even other people in other parts of the world. So you interact with people from Europe, the US, and you find yourself in a room that your ideas are probably
the best. Yeah. Now, let me say this for clarity. So I've been privileged a little bit to interact with different people and also travel a bit. I've never met. I'm yet to meet. And I've met all calibers of people you think, from the top echelon to the, the normal guys. They are no smartest, more skilled, self-driven, more than Africans. And I'm saying this with a lot of clarity.
You're very right.
And one thing that I have found with Africa, and this is the biggest challenge, and I think I need to share this so that whoever will listen to this will understand. Our biggest problem is mindset. Right. If we saw that out, whereby you can, you are able to, actually you are the best, we can create solutions that actually resonate, even learning from the mistakes of the ones who are ahead of things. And sometimes, even becoming the richest person is not important. If you solve like 10 people's problem, it's the most important in the world. That humanity aspect of whatever you do is what actually counts. So that's one thing that actually I thought that you should share at this point. But there's
very-
something
you're
important
very
you said that really I need to go back to. You talked about spirit, body, and
mind.
And mind. What is your take on this?
I think, and maybe it's something I'm working on discovering.
Oh, you're in
But
the
I
process.
think, yeah, and I think it's not wrong. I think part of the pursuit of life is working towards getting all these things in sync. Yeah, because you sort of need to have them all right. Yeah, to really have that. Let me even say quality of life. Yeah, or maybe that's what you're saying. You don't have to be the wealthiest of persons.
Yes.
Because what's the quality of life? Like now, what's the relationship maybe I have with my wife? How well am I able to be there for her, support her, and my kids as well? Yeah, not really so much about supporting them from a material perspective only, but maybe I have time to do homework with them, maybe play with them, or even give them experiences. That aspect of giving your time and insights. So I think that's a very important thing in terms of how do you have those elements sort of balanced, because it takes you to sort of like another level, or another level of awareness. And I think sometimes being able to balance this makes you generate other insights and other appreciations. And even now, sometimes you find that even you have a simpler perception of life. You don't think about the most complicated of things, and you probably get to appreciate
you're
what
present in the moment.
You're really present in the moment, present in your life, and savoring whatever it is. It could be a small experience. You're just sitting around the table chatting,
or playing
taking a walk.
what is it, the draft.
Such sort of like at any point in time having those things, those kind of things aligned, because now think about it, if you don't have the right presence of mind, even if your spirit is okay, or your body is or everything else is okay, but your body is mess. You're not taking care of your body so great. I know it's a very difficult balance, and I think for me, I look at it as always a work in progress, and it's part of being humanity. But it's something that you try to consciously always balance out. And I think for me, in a lot of ways, never really thought about it in most of my life consciously, but over time realized that I've always been trying to pursue that. I've always been trying to pursue that and try to sort of get that kind of balance.
And do you think, do you have a purpose in life? And if you do you think spirit, body, and mind balance actually helped you find that purpose? If you don't, are you in a process of like saying, you know what, I want to discover my purpose, live fully?
I think for me, my purpose in life it's really simple. It's just to enjoy life. And for me, enjoying life is really a lot about being the best I can be, and giving out as much as I can. So really, that's what gives me more satisfaction. So I really, really, really enjoy in terms of that aspect of giving and sort of feeling like I'm trying to be the best of myself that I can actually be. So a lot of other things, yes, material things matter, because certain comforts you look out for life, but it's not entirely what really matters. What really matters.
Because at the end of the day, as they say, at the end of it all, you won't take anything with you.
You leave it all.
What will count is how you lived, how you're able to do all these things. And I love your purpose. So I'm a purpose-driven person. That's why. That's why this is really important. I think even as Africans, because even initially back in the days, I feel like Africans used to live purpose-driven life. That's why people were more welcoming to visitors, more accommodating to different things. Even right now, actually, if you look at the way we behave, because it's in our DNA, we are more welcoming. We are, like even Kenyans, they are more like willing to try other cultures, but people abuse that. People take advantage of that. So we need to really embrace our culture and also, live a purpose-filled life for us to really live in cohesion with others. Now, Chief, you took literature, and I know the straight path before now you tasted your first internship money and said, you know what, I want to enjoy life a little bit, and then the school can wait. The straight path is you graduate and become a teacher. Do you think actually this taking break after getting the internship helped you? Because if you do literature, the automatic path is for you to become an English or Swahili teacher in high school. Straight up. So do you think this actually it wasn't like something you planned, but do you think this actually helped you see other opportunities out there?
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's what started showing me that as much as it felt like I'd sort of left what I was studying, I think there's nothing like leaving the academics you pursued.
Yeah.
Because like now, for example, and I think that's why you talked about Namibia, the question where we started this part of the segment of conversation.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that, what I'd studied. Because even going for, what are they called? Like, because I did some short stints of teaching.
Yeah.
And what I learned is what we call pedagogy, the art or science of teaching.
It's called what?
Pedagogy.
Okay, yeah, that's a new word. Pedagogy.
Yeah, pedagogy. Like now, when you might know the subject matter, but how to deliver it.
That's the pedagogy.
That's the pedagogy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's and
I feel like most teachers didn't capture that really well. The pedagogy part of things. Because I find people who are really knowledgeable, but delivering that for you.
Yeah, delivery. That's what makes teachers. Because there are teachers you find who are amazing. There are teachers who teach you and it's different.
Yes.
Those are the ones who maybe have a knack of the pedagogy.
Yes.
Some of them understand the content. They even come to you and tell you, today you are going to do page number 54. The teacher doesn't have a book.
Yes. No, actually, this reminds me a statistic teacher when I was doing my computing degree, who actually didn't come with a book.
Yeah, then they know every word.
They used to like, you know how a statistic is. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's something that is complex and you need actually to understand the logic and everything, but also the way he delivered it. The examples that the use cases where you could apply this. It became so interesting that I was looking forward for his lessons. And because that statistic is easy if you if you think about it, it's math. But the way he really showed you how you can apply this.
So I think for me, it's a thing. I think sometimes I almost say that I almost want to say that whatever course you pursue, it's never the wrong course. For study, because there are elements of it that will be of value. And for me, even to date, what I studied still adds value. Like now, for example, partly it's interestingly that's part of what really got me into Microsoft actually. Because when I got to Microsoft, it's not because I was IT savvy. I wasn't at that time, and I'm not. And I am not now. I'm still not savvy. I'm savvy enough to send an email and say likes. It was really in terms of.
I see.
Because now it was now what the strength I had was that I appreciated technology. And that I still credit Isaac, because that's the times I didn't do much. I don't even remember touching a computer in high school. And the likes. I remember there was a few computers in school, and I think those were for the people who are doing that subject, computer studies. But at Isaac, because now we started engaging with a global network. You need to send emails. We had an online platform for interacting.
Need to research and all that.
Such. So I started learning, and then now back to my typing. Remember the typing?
The course, the typist.
that typing
from
thing.
the school of secretaries
I could have become a very good secretary as well. So those and they seem like bits, but you can't find them tying up, because now even just that basic of you can type. It's funny. There's something that needs to be typed. It's given to you. You type because you're the guy who can type quickly.
Yes.
Very basic. I remember that time in ISEC, and especially Uganda. When I was in Uganda, we needed to develop a website. I developed the website. Not that I knew or had been taught how to develop a website, but I needed somehow. I just somehow figured and put up something.
Static website though.
Not a very, but it worked. It was functional. You needed it for, you have an external presence, you have it. And it's sort of, so what I found out is that I had a level of appreciation of what technology could be. So for me, I was coming from technology from the outside, not from being a person who's techie. And then now with the education component, when the two came together, now what you can call ICT for education.
Ah,
But there's nowhere you'll go to a school and be taught the two things.
Yes.
There's no school.
You either learn one or the other.
And then you learn one and figure out the other.
Yeah.
So it's almost sort of like, and then it becomes a very unique combination, because now when it comes to education, you need to maybe talk to Ministry of Education.
Yes.
If you're going to Ministry of Education and you don't talk to them, you don't come tell them about ICT.
Yes.
Or the technicality of it is
Yeah.
of it. Talk to them HTML.
Yeah.
But you need to talk to them pedagogy.
Yeah.
And how this technology can tie in. So you
Yeah.
start from what they know.
Yes.
Yeah, you start
And
them
take
from
them
what they
what
know,
they
and then now
unknown.
you start bringing in the things that are a bit of unknown, and so you find the two of them marry very well, and that's how initially when I was in South Africa for the internship, and then from there now the person who was my boss felt that I could actually be working the field. I was stationed in Namibia, working for within what you call SADC, Southern Africa region. Actually,
Is
South
that
Africa.
with Microsoft?
That was with Microsoft.
Okay.
Yeah, so did some stint with that, and then
Okay.
came back home.
Ah, nice. 10 years, 3 months. Chief, you are doing something right.
I hope so, yes.
What is that? Pedagogy or something else?
So for me, Microsoft, it was a very defining experience. For me, it was early on in my career, which was so it was a very steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But I found that a lot of the experience I'd done before, and sometimes that's why I think for anybody, all those little things you do, they come to help you.
Yeah.
It's foundation you're building.
Yeah.
From that time when you are running a garbage business, you realize the responsibilities you're being given to manage money.
Leadership.
Yeah, you need to engage with people to ISEC, whereby you have a full responsibility for end-to-end for the organization.
Yeah.
To engage with partners, etc. So for me, for Microsoft, the 10 years, it varied. I worked within education programs.
Okay.
That was actually a big chunk of
Yeah, because
my
I
experience
remember
was.
Microsoft came in as Microsoft for Education and stuff like that.
Yes. So the program, and it had a lot to do working with the government. So we'll work with the Ministry of Education, sign a 5 or a 10-year agreement. We'll do these things to enable the country to be able to be ready for technology. So that really helped. Also at the time, other experiences now working with NGOs. How do we support NGOs to uptake technology? Not just for their own productivity, but in terms of their programs. How can they be able to, let's say, serve more people by leveraging technology, or reduce their costs using technology? So it was also a very amazing experience. Amazing experience for me.
Nice.
And also some aspects of maybe the last one was also a lot around what we're calling philanthropy or corporate philanthropy. So in terms of how do we as an organization give, but give very strategically in terms of either you're giving a technology, at times will be a money, but really in terms of enabling the community to be better. Because you are being able to leverage. And sometimes that's when I look at it when I talk about the platform you have. Because now for me, while I was in Microsoft, it gave me an opportunity to work with organizations. But apart from working organization, was be able to influence. And I think that aspect of being able to influence was really very, very paramount, because now you're able to influence at a scale, at a significant scale.
Yeah.
And
now you leave Microsoft. Why?
Well, for me, it's for various reasons. I think for me, one was that looking for new experiences. I remember, and some of the things that defined me a lot was because I worked very much in terms of looking at how is technology being used to improve people's life socially and economically. So it's a lot about the applicability of the technology. So for me, it was a lot in terms of how do I immerse myself into that particular environment? Almost because part of the experience you'll see after Microsoft for a short time was working within nonprofits. So I wanted to be able to immerse myself in that particular environment. For example, education, I understood education a little bit because I had academic background to it. But the nonprofits, I had not really worked for nonprofits, but I was supporting nonprofits. So for me, I wanted to be able to understand things from that perspective, and also realize it was good. It was a jolt as well. You've been doing something for quite a while. Probably gotten a bit more comfortable, or you feel that you actually want to just get yourself out and be able to experience new things.
It's not Ton Blair Institute for Global Change that say, Chief, look, there is technology for development here, and we know what you have been doing for Microsoft. Please do the necessary.
Yeah. No, not necessarily. Yeah. Because I remember after Microsoft, I took a bit of a break, a few months.
Okay. Did you start a startup?
Not entirely a startup. What I did is I did some consultancy. Because what happened is the people you had met. And then now when people hear you are no longer a Microsoft, can you come and help us with this and that?
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting because now it was from basics of helping organizations, nonprofits develop their business, for example. Also in terms of helping them be able to define how do they use technology. So at that time for me, it was actually very exciting in terms of being able just to understand how the nonprofits work and sort of get a picture from their, it's almost like you put your foot into their foot and kind of get how they feel how their shoe fits. So I think so that was,
it was basically around that.
It was
and now you joined Tony Blair, where you do global incubator as a manager. But what did this mean? Like,
so those what it entailed was it was two things. One, the tech for development was a lot more for looking at governments. How could governments use technology to enhance service delivery? So you're looking at the things like maybe some of the basics, like Huduma, the Huduma services, or some of the online services the government is doing. Other things you're looking at were around, let's say, medical, Medicare. Like part of the things before I left, and I think the team there is still working on, was looking at like digital ID. So looking at
one ID that sounds
so how can you be able to have such leverage on technology? Because government's mandate is typically provide services. So how do you as government now leverage technology to do that? Or if it's in medical field as well, when it comes to records, how can somebody have a universal, record keeping? So that if I move from one hospital to the other, they have my records.
That has been a big conversation.
It's been a big, so those are some of the things that trying to see how do you unlock such things? How do you enable? Of course, it's a long journey, and I think it's still a work in progress. And the other thing as well was on a youth project. The youth project was a lot looking in terms of, one of the things that I liked about it is that was really doing a lot of research to understand what are the real issues that youth are facing. So it was really approaching from a research perspective. So why the whole why call it an incubator is that it's an incubator of ideas. And trying to come up with ideas, research about them, and come up with a solution. So for me, it was actually a very good experience.
So there funding involved or just incubation?
Yeah, there was funding as well. Depending on how the program developed out. So for me, it was quite interesting because now it was sort of like my first time being like in let me say a consultancy. A consultancy where you sit back, make presentations, create decks, documents, and the likes. It's something I'd not done so much of. Because through Microsoft, a lot of times these things probably are done by external. So it was really for me in terms of, I think that time was for me going back to the grassroots. Because I feel like my career had sort of started in the inverse. Sort of like when you say that you start, how do you call it? You start from the ground up. So it's sort of like I'd skipped like a step kidogo. And not done some of those experiences. So it was sort of give me a chance. And I really realized I appreciated it, and they really come in handy for me now.
Because now you have the ownership of and a solution of what you're delivering, and you now served. It's like 3 years of your life, right? What is that one impact that you remember from that, Tony Blair? Because also I feel some of these organizations, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong from my short-sightedness in terms of what they do. Things like Huduma number. Either the process was not so clear to the stakeholders, or there was hidden, agendas, or it's just a way of siphoning money from government. It's not understood clearly. And that's why there is always that buying is not that good. There is MasterCard. There is a World Bank.
Yeah,
there are all these organizations that you hear they are pouring billions and billions of dollars. But when you go on the ground, there is nothing much happening. What do you think is the problem, or the intention is just not to get things done?
Yeah. No, and I think you're right. And even if you looked into statistics about maybe the amount of dollars poured into development in Africa, it's a lot, and it continues being done so. I believe the intention is right, at least for the people who are supporting or advancing for this. Even the people who work in those organizations.
Yeah.
I believe the intention is right.
Yeah.
I think it's just a question of these investments not being harnessed enough. And there is still, the unfortunate aspect of certain interests that at the end of the day ensures that whatever the program was designed doesn't work as well as it should be. And I think sometimes also partly even the organizations that provide this support, I think need to take a little bit of responsibility. The responsibility I mean is that they need to, or we need to figure out in terms of what are the systems and structures we are putting in place to ensure that continuity and sustainability.
Yeah.
At times, one of the things I see challenging about development is the whole project idea. And part of the definition of projects is if you take a project management course, it tells you a project has a beginning and an end.
Yeah.